podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Okay, this week I'm with Tom. How's it going, Tom?
Yeah, good, thanks. A little bit frustrated after that, but pretty good. How about you?
Yes, very good, thank you. All good here in not-so-sunny Seattle, which is very much like its reputation. Rains solidly from October to about June, which at this time of year starts to grate a little bit.
Well, we've just had snow, so...
Yes, it's true.
In March.
Yeah, I saw the pictures from back home. And, well, I was going to try and make some smooth segue then into United versus Southampton, but I haven't got one. So I'm not the pro. Still hamming it up after 620 odd episodes.
You know Gary Lineker.
I'm no Gary Lineker.
You could not have replaced him yesterday.
No, I did briefly offer. Then I thought, no, I actually don't want to be the strike-breaking scab. So I turned the beat down, even though it didn't approach me, which was disgraceful. Honestly, I really should have. Anyway, we'll get to Gary Lineker. We decided we'll do that as the bonus content this week for backers, but we'll leave it open for everyone because obviously it's an important and nuanced conversation. I've been kind of reluctant to engage on Twitter with that until I'd had the chance to talk to a few people and understand the different perspectives. So we'll get to that a bit later. First, I guess, is United versus Southampton. Frustrating. And very frustrating because the punishment for Casemiro is an extra 4-game ban plus this half game in a bit. And he got 3.5 game ban for the last one, which is basically 8 games for not a lot.
No. I mean, this one was more of a red card than the last one.
For sure.
I think he just got really unlucky because the way that he got the ball made the tackle look worse because his foot just went higher and then onto his shin.
It bounced off the ball, didn't it, basically?
Yeah, and when you're looking at that in slow motion, it's like it's obviously he's going to give a red card, but it's just really unlucky. I guess it is a little bit silly from Casemiro to be making that challenge, though. Like, to be going in
that part of the pitch,
that part of the pitch, that high, like he was off the ground. It's just, you expect better from him, really. And in a game like this, it doesn't, in the first half, it doesn't even matter. I mean, not that there was that much likelihood that they were going to score a goal anyway at that point, but like, even if you concede at that moment in time, it's not that much of an issue. Like, you don't need to make that challenge.
True.
Really, with about 30 minutes gone against Southampton. You go 1-0 down and you still back us to win, but losing their man.
Well, it's much worse than going 1-0 down, isn't it? Because of the time and the length and the man
who it is as well.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, I think he's unlucky in that he's clearly gone for the ball and his foot has basically bounced off the ball onto the shin. I mean, the rule says nothing about getting the ball. Obviously, you can take that out of play. That doesn't matter. Is it endangering the opponent and is it dangerous or reckless? And the guidance talks about control. And so you can go, okay, dangerous because it's gone studs onto the shin. And is he in control? Probably not. And I think you take the sort of emotion out of it, you probably say that's a pretty standard red. I mean, it's marginal, but probably erring on that side. You can see why that's called. The frustration is two things. That's not always called in the Premier League, for sure. That doesn't always go to VAR, and often it's just given just as a yellow because the referee will say, oh, ball, then man, okay. And I think it's absolutely 100% true that is inconsistently called, that one. And then the second is VAR, which basically just slows it down to a frame, and people on Twitter do that, including a whole bunch of people who should know better, who are in the media, who know they're making a bad faith argument when they do this, just show the freeze frame and go, obviously, because you need the whole picture and context. And just to contrast that with, sorry, I know I'm babbling on, just contrast that with the tackle by Walker-Peters on Garnacho later in the game. And there's a few others as well, by the way, because he does it on Bruno 2 seconds later, where he's got the ball and gone through the man with the scissor tackle And that's okay because the ref's saying, well, he's got the ball. Well, clearly not in control. Clearly it's endangering his opponent. It's in the penalty area, and just the inconsistency between those is deeply frustrating. Anyway, Tom, I'll stop talking.
Yeah, those ones never get called. But they're ankle wreckers. I thought he'd broken his ankle at first. The pain he was in, and clearly there's an injury there because he had to come off it about 5 minutes later. Those ones never ever get called. But then of the one on Casemiro, like you say, I saw it in WhatsApp groups, people sharing it around it's a horrible challenge. It's like, no, that freeze frame makes it look horrendous. Like the Sabitzer one about 3 weeks ago where Graham Souness at half time was apoplectic that it wasn't a red card when he barely touched him. But you have the freeze frame and it looks so much worse. Like you say, VAR has never done this since it came into play. They've never actually looked at the challenge in full force.
Right.
They always slow it down.
And I'm just trying to understand the full context of everything. And yeah.
I don't know why. It's an obvious thing. You should look at the game in its proper context rather than just looking at it in super slow motion. But they always look at it in super slow motion.
Right.
Bizarre.
I guess to speed it up, just to speed the whole process up, just so they show the specific incident, but without the context, I don't think the referee's got full information. Maybe they're saying, well, the referee saw it in full time, has to make the decision on most of the game in full speed, real time, full speed, and so they're just adding information. But it feels like it adds out of context information, which is not good information. Yeah. I mean, that one on Garnacho, you're totally right. I mean, he clearly was injured. He tried to get back up to speed. He clearly wasn't right. And they are ankle wreckers, and it's a scissor kick, and it's dangerous, and he wasn't in control of it, and it is never given. And it's just, that's deeply frustrating. And there was a point where Anthony Taylor had given 10 in a row, what felt like 10 in a row to Southampton, and it just felt all inconsistent. And Bruno, he was right on the edge, wasn't he? But I think with the fans, right?
Yeah. And there was that handball in the first half as well, which... I don't know how that is in handball.
Well, it's not a natural position having your arm on the pitch, is it? And it's about 15 yards away from him, so...
Yeah.
Anyway.
And the ball's going straight to Weghorst behind him as well.
It is. And he's just blocked it with his hand, which is not in a natural position.
No. And he moves his hand as well, actually. Just before it gets to him.
Yeah, it's all very frustrating. And I mean, the actual game itself, apart from that, was incredibly open. I can't remember how many shots. It's 30-odd shots in the game, isn't it? It's a lot.
Yeah. Which, there can't be too many games like that. And they weren't even just pot shots as well. They hit the bar with the Ward-Prowse effort. They hit the post with Walker-Peters. We hit the post. They had one cleared off the line when McTominay tried to put one in about 5 minutes after he came on, and Len the Theo Walcott 2 chances that I'm naming all their chances here, but they had a lot of chances, and obviously we did as well, Weghorst with that big chance, and Rashford as well, where he maybe could have played Weghorst in the first half. It felt in that first half that we were fully in control here. We didn't start that well. It is a bit like the start against Leicester, where they had a couple of early chances, but I always kind of felt, we'll kick into gear here and win it. But then that red card obviously just completely changes the game. And it's interesting as well because just after the red card, when Bruno was kind of playing in centre of field on his own, he did it, and he didn't make the change immediately, which you imagine he would. We had 95% of the ball at that point.
Yeah,
and we
kept
kept
really
attacking
well,
and attacking.
Yeah.
And then obviously after that, when the McTominay thing came on, which I think is probably the right move. Obviously ceded possession, and we went in and sat in and tried to defend and counter attack, which just, it's hard to say it didn't work because we had 10 men, but it didn't really work. They looked the more likely, but obviously we had 11 men. But then if you think to Southampton actually lost a game with 10 men about 3 or 4 weeks ago, when Nathan Jones said it. Nathan Jones said it's harder to play against 10 men than it is 11, which it's a shame that he got sacked.
Said, amongst many dumb things Nathan Jones said, it is not. What he's, I guess, trying to say is that the game state changes in which you typically have the team with 10 men going pretty defensive. United didn't do that. We're very open. Could if Southampton had a better forward than Theo Walcott, then we'd have been in real trouble, because those several breaks and just they cut through United so easily. United were way too open. I was surprised it took Ten Hag so long, because it's clearly he's going to look at the game state, see what is happening, and then make the change. But he left it 10 minutes, more than 10 minutes. And I don't think you need more than 10 minutes to realise that Bruno is not going to be disciplined enough at a number 6 position to do that job. It's not even whether he can do it. He's just not disciplined. He's just continues wandering upfield. So it's an obvious change.
Bruno played played that same position throughout the whole of the second half as well. Like, I don't really know why you kept him in the centre midfield. Like, I would have just brought Fred on. And because like Bruno's game management at times is just terrible. Like the decisions he makes. Yeah. And like that one where he brought the ball across himself on the edge of the area, took a bad touch and then fouled the guy. And then it's just like setting up James Ward-Prowse with a free kick right on the edge of the box. Like, it's those kind of things. Like, I mean, in a game like this, when you've got 10 men, I'd just get Bruno as far away, as near to their goal as possible, because that's just where he's best. I can understand from the start of what you're trying to do with playing Bruno in that position. You think you're going to have a lot of the ball and you have more attacking players on the pitch or whatever. But throughout that game, like, it was so frustrating watching Bruno, because he gave the ball away so often. And also, like you say, he's so ill-disciplined defensively. It's like, he is a very, very frustrating player. Not as frustrating as he was last week, but it's just his game management is poor.
Ten Hag praised him after the Betis game, saying how much control and discipline he had, which are the things he doesn't normally have. Today, 68% success rate with his passing. I mean, look, he's always been this. I remember when he signed, and Paul and I were talking about it, and Paul was super excited, and I was like, yes, I think let's just watch him in these big games, because I think we're going to get frustrated with how much he gives away the ball. And that was a concern before he signed from United scouts, who delayed. And he's like a special, there's almost no player on the planet like him. Like, he's special teams chaos merchant. And it's great, right? The numbers he puts up, goal in every 3, assist in every 2 or something like that. He's really, really great data, creates tons and tons and tons of chances in a United side that's all right, but isn't fully matured yet. And so having those numbers is great, but you just got to use him in the right way. And Ten Hag today tried playing Sancho at 10, Bruno at 8, basically. And he's trying to find the right balance between all this, because he wants to get, I think he wants to get Sancho into the team. But it's hard to have Sancho and Antony wide, even if you're playing Rashford, because you lose pace on the wings. So it all looks a bit similar. Sancho's basically a wide 10, so he's basically assume that he's really a 10-10. And I like Sancho in that position. I like him more than wide, because he obviously has no pace, and that is a problem. But yeah, you can see what Ten Hag's doing. He's shuffling around the pack to try and find what is the optimal combination, knowing that he basically doesn't have a perfect 11 at the moment. It's closer if Anthony Martial is fit, but he's never fit. So it's,
I think, United bring Osimhen in, and then the whole dynamic changes next season, because he brings you everything almost, and he brings you that pace in behind, which it will be vital, and it means like that. Well, it'll be Rashford on the left, Osimhen through the middle, and then you can play Bruno, I guess, behind, and Antony on the right, or Sancho on the right. But right now, you are having to kind of put square pegs in round holes, which I think Sancho is at the moment. I don't disagree that Sancho has the technical attributes to play in that role. It's just tactically at the moment, it just doesn't seem to be. Well, it's difficult to say, because there wasn't long enough for him to actually get a good go at today, and he's only had a couple of other chances playing in that position. I think one of them was against Barcelona, wasn't it? Did he play in that role against Barcelona? It was one game where it was a big game. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I don't think it was Barcelona, but yes, he's. I forget. Yeah.
My my fear with him is that, like I say, from a tactical perspective, I don't know if he knows how to play that role yet because he's barely played it in his career. But despite having the attributes, and it's his play on the half turn, which he's not great at. He's great when he's facing forward because we know he can pick out passes. He's got that intelligence and composure to do it and ability. It's kind of just getting, when he's facing his own goal, turning and getting on the turn, like I say, on the half turn, which Bruno's amazing at. And I think hopefully Sancho can develop into that. But like, it's just right now, I think it does look a little bit awkward. But then, like you say, then Bruno having to, but there's no kind of, where is Bruno supposed to be playing at the moment? It's like hard to fit him into the team. And like you say, he is such a chaotic man. I feel like I'm being a bit a bit here, which is, I guess, a bit unfair because we had 10 men for 60 minutes of the game. But yeah, it's the balance is just a bit weird with what we've got right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And Ten Hag's trying to find the right balance with all these talented players. At Dortmund, I feel Sancho played much closer to whoever was up front. Haaland. Did he play with Haaland? I'm trying to remember the time. Yeah, he did for a season, didn't he? And I feel like he was more of an inside forward. And they didn't. Dortmund played with high press and very much looked for transitional moments. And he was very successful there, both in terms of assists and scoring. Scored a lot of goals, Sancho. And it's almost like they used him as that utility inside forward, played off the right and the left. His numbers are actually better off the left than the right, for kind of understandable reasons, I think. And United haven't quite found the right balance. I think it's very easy, especially on social media, to go, he's rubbish. He hasn't given us anything. He gives United a lot, but I don't think they've quite found like where he should play versus where Bruno should play. Don't have a forward for him to play off, really. I mean, because you can't play balls through to Weghorst. He's not going to run onto anything.
And his first touch isn't very good either.
Weghorst, God,
Well, that's the weird thing about Sancho and Bruno, though. Like, they're two completely disparate footballers. Like, one's a chaos merchant who gives the ball away so much of the time, and then Sancho's a neat little knitter of the ball. He knits play together. And when you're playing with, I guess, Marco Reus, Dortmund, another player who's so great at knitting the game together, then those two can feed off it. Julian Brandt, similar type of player. Yeah. They can knit the game together, and it makes Sancho look a better footballer because he plays it into someone and they play it straight back to him. Whereas United, like, it's always, as soon as Sancho signed, we always thought that this doesn't really fit. I don't think, like, he was a system player coming into a chaotic side, and it's still a little bit like that. Anthony's quite I would say, very chaotic footballer, obviously. Bruno's a chaotic footballer. I think Rashford's got a lot of chaos about him. I don't think he's the cleanest. I don't think he knits play together that greatly. And then Sancho kind of comes in. It's like, go and knit the game together. But when you're not getting 1-2s and you don't have that like around you, that system, it does just look a little bit awkward. And maybe when we have a proper striker, actual real striker, then maybe that will look better, like you say. But where you've got kind of Weghorst, you don't know where the ball's going to bounce off him. It's a bit like Heskey, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not as mobile as Heskey.
No,
not anywhere near it. I mean, Ten Hag has persisted with it, so he's going to keep doing this. He clearly wants a pivot up there as a number 9 to play off and around. Feels that's a better balance than Rashford through the middle because he's got more options in wide areas than he has through the middle, and he persists with doing it. So it's clearly a systems thing with Ten Hag. He thinks the team as a whole is better with Weghorst in there. And to be fair, we've scored quite a lot of goals with Weghorst in there. It's just not Weghorst scoring the goals. 2 in 14 or whatever it is right now. So yes, I mean, there was talk during the week about Harry Kane again. I mean, I look at Kane and have conflicting thoughts. One, absolutely perfect player for Ten Hag. Just perfect. Can play 9, 10, 9.5. You can play around him. He's never had pace, so I don't think there was a worry for a while that his shot volume was dropping off, and I think that was more about Tottenham than him, and so worried that he would stop scoring goals at some point. But I don't know. I think more like Teddy Sheringham. I think he'll be able to go on for quite a while and still score goals for a long time. His shot quality is just as good as anything on the planet, and he takes it very early. So he would be a perfect player. The concern is his age for the, even if he's heading into the final 12 months of his contract, which he will be this summer, we're talking what? 60, 70, 80, 90 million, whatever, a huge fee that Tottenham will try and demand for a player who's 30. So anyway, that's the concern. Osimhen's just obviously much younger and much more dynamic.
It's interesting with Kane as well, though, isn't it? Because you look at someone like Benzema, who's 5 years older than him, who's still obviously doing it at the top level, and you think, I think it's unarguable that Benzema's a better footballer, but like Kane has similar qualities, I think, but he's actually better at knitting the game together, I'd say, and also building from deep, and also he's got that ability to shoot from range, which Benzema I don't think has. I think Benzema has more class about him and game intelligence. But like, you look at Benzema still doing it at the highest level at 35. You think if United can get 5 years out of Harry Kane for 80 million or whatever, you'd 100% take it if he's going to perform at the same levels. But then you say, look at his injury record, had a lot of ankle injuries. How's that going to affect him going forward? He doesn't have that many seasons where he plays every single game. I mean, if this even happened, he usually misses about 10 or 15 games a season, I'd say. So it's just a huge risk. Whereas Osimhen, it's obviously a risk because he's coming from Serie A, which is a crap league. Let's put it right. But he isn't a crap footballer, and I think we'll see in the Champions League how good Napoli actually are. Yeah. And also you get potentially like 10 years out of him, and he has everything which I think United need right now. But then, like you say, so does Kane, and also Kane's done it in the Prem, blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Much lower risk Kane immediately, and you just like your squad management as well. So United have a few older players.
Yes,
Varane, Casemiro, De Gea. If Kane came in, the whole spine would be older.
Harry Maguire.
Whether that's Harry Maguire. Well, yeah, I think he might be gone. Maybe we can do a swap with Spurs. He's wonderful. Daniel Levy, Harry Maguire is the best player you've ever seen. So squad management's an important thing. United have done that very poorly over the years. So buying, selling, squad management. You want to have the right balance. So the average age is 26, 27, something like that, and a balance of experience and youth. And you just wonder if the whole of the spine of the team is aging, whether that might be a problem there. Well, it would be, because you end up having to replace them all at the same time. So,
yeah. You look at Eriksen as well. Another one to
and
check
Eriksen,
in there.
Ten Hag said this week that Eriksen would play before the end of the season. It's great news. I mean, talking about inconsistencies, Andy Carroll didn't even get a yellow card for that one. Was it even called as a foul? I don't know. It actually clattered him.
Yeah. So. I can't remember. There were 3 horrendous challenges, wasn't there? And then obviously the Eriksen one didn't even get a yellow card.
Yeah. I think we'll find out, complete conspiracy theory, that at some point after that City game, after that Rashford goal, some note went around. Not that they're saying give everything against United, but the media scrutiny and spotlight, it will have been noted.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even if that is not the case, then it's just impacting. It's just impacting referees. They're just because like that was on the back pages for 4 days. I took up much more news coverage than Gary Lineker that did, Marcus Rashford. Crime against humanity that it was.
And you look at it now, you look at us for the next 4 games, it's going to be really, really tough. I mean, at least it keeps Casemiro sprightly for the Europa League, I guess, but we're kind of through in that already. But
save him for the Europa, yeah.
It's like what we were doing before when he got suspended, which was like what?
It's so many games he'll have missed, and it's just Casemiro is going to miss the cup game versus Fulham, and then the league games versus Everton, Newcastle, and Brentford. That's not in the right order, I don't think. But
Newcastle and Brentford's tough as well.
Yeah, it's Newcastle away as well.
Yeah, that's JP.
The other 3 are at home, so I guess it could have been worse, because it could have been City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Spurs away or something. But it's not. Even so, Brentford, transitional team, very strong in the transitions. That is a risk, I think, with no pivot there. And obviously Newcastle away. We saw what happened in the cup final. that's not how Newcastle or United play in every game. There was a very specific tactical approach, I thought, in that cup final. But without Casemiro, I mean, I guess he'll go for a double pivot of Fred and McTominay. I imagine
it's
it'll
back.
be a bit more.
It's back.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, that's not next game's Betis, isn't it? And then it's is it Betis, Fulham
on
Brentford,
Sunday?
Everton?
Yeah.
Is it Brentford, Newcastle, Everton? I can't remember. Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's not what we need. It's not what we need at this stage. I think like today going into the game, I was kind of thinking we win today, and I mean I wasn't even concerned about even winning, to be honest. But then also, like top 4 kind of seems like it's there now. But then you think if we don't pick up that many points over the next 4 games without Casemiro, then you can pull back into that fight all of a sudden.
Could do, yeah. I mean, only 2 points ahead of Spurs after this weekend, game in hand. But Liverpool also have that game in hand over Spurs. So, I mean, we're 8 points ahead of Liverpool, basically, if you're looking at top 4 with 12 games to go. Should be enough.
Yeah.
But, yes, if United lose one in the next 4, draw 2 others, and Liverpool go on a run, which there's no guarantee about that, but given how bad they are, then yes, United could be drawn into that when it should be comfortable.
It should be as well. Like that, I think I'm being very pessimistic there because like Tottenham are bad most of the time, Liverpool are bad most of the time, Newcastle can't score goals. We should be completely fine, but there is that. It's the years of negativity have just made me such a pessimistic man when it comes to United. So, like,
it's hard not to be, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like being an England cricket fan. You just assume that it's all doom and gloom, even if they win 11 games in a row or whatever. It's ingrained in the DNA that you have to worry about it.
It is.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's what
I mean, I like from here, I don't know what the models say. I imagine the 538 model is giving United more than 60% chance of making the Champions League, probably even bigger than that.
Yeah,
I'd imagine from this position. And I think that's fair. United should do. Casemiro is a huge blow. And it just kind of, it says, especially with him getting on a little bit, and injuries may creep in more, although he's been pretty injury-free in his career, that we should be grooming an understudy, and neither Fred nor McTominay are that understudy. No. Which is kind of not surprising they've been linked with Laviera at Southampton because he is
good today,
kind of nice in that position. Yeah.
He looked good.
Yeah.
19 as well, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. A kind of younger version would be very good in terms of the squad balance.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the other thing I thought about Casemiro as well, and we talked about it earlier in the season, how aggressive he is. And I think he's much more aggressive. I feel like he's a completely different player than he was at Real Madrid because he's not playing with Kroos and Modric, and he has to cover a lot of ground. When he's in the single pivot, he has to cover a lot. And even when he's not, when it's a double with, say, Fred or McTominay, or more often Fred, isn't it? Then he's still very aggressive, and it feels like there's more than he was in the past. And I just wonder whether he's just kind of compensating for a little change in his physicality. I think in that last season at Madrid, he started looking a bit slower than he was.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I wasn't really sure about that because he's playing with old players as well. And I don't know whether they just all looked old. Brilliant on the ball, but all old.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wonder. It's kind of, it has led to quite a lot of yellow cards, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And 2 reds now.
Yeah, I mean, the first red obviously is hard to blame him for, but then the second red, which he'd never been sent off before until this season, and like you say, it might be a bit unlucky to have got a red today, but the yellows have been totting up a lot, and like that one against Palace just felt so annoying and I guess needless as well. But yeah, he is like a completely different player. It is very weird to watch.
No question about that. It's supported by you, our listeners, through patreon.com/NQAT pod, where you can get access to our weekly ad-free bonus episode talking about football around the Premier League and Europe. Betis on Thursday. I was pretty impressed with United's performance at home.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the intensity was you really felt the intensity. Actually, and I wondered whether it had an impact today in the first half hour.
Yeah.
United was so intense against Betis, they just looked a bit laboured, didn't they?
Yeah, it was the perfect response. Like, I think Ten Hag said after the game, like, after the 7-0, we can use this moment to make us stronger. And I think it's a bit like having the attitude in life, really. Like, if something bad happens to you, like, you can learn from that mistake and actually grow as a person. And I felt like that Sunday could have been exactly that perspective and can be that perspective where, like, something dreadful happens, but it makes you a stronger person. It makes you a stronger team and stronger collective, where we can hopefully look back in that in a year and that's what it is. It's just a blip and it's just a horrible moment, and we became so much stronger. And I think on Thursday that was exactly what the United team almost like saw it as Sunday, coming out and just blasting away a decent side, the side that obviously drew to Real Madrid at the weekend before. It was perfect, and it would have been great if we could have just kept that momentum up today. We obviously didn't, but I don't think we should be too dispirited about it. And I'm sure on Thursday we'll go there and just get the job done.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it'd be absolutely shocking if Betis turned it around. I mean, there's going to be a great crowd. It's 60,000, be a full house, I imagine. I did wonder whether, I mean, there's this thing in Spain where fans just don't turn up for games that don't matter. It's very odd. But I imagine there'll be a big crowd that'll be urging their team on. United would just try and kill that by being super professional. Obviously, Casemiro is not suspended for that one. And it'd be interesting to see what balance I imagine Fred will come into the side. Just a bit of extra protection, and they'll try and kill any momentum early on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they've got it in them either to score that many goals. Like, they're not a free scoring team, and like Boyer and Iglesias has been good. Obviously, didn't even start on Thursday, but like Jose Perez, Joaquin, like it's Sergio Canales, obviously coming back from injury, but there's not that much to fear, is there, really?
No, and they haven't scored loads and loads of goals in La Liga either. I mean, just the 32 in 24 games in La Liga. They are scoring Villarreal.
Wow.
Who they played today. Most teams outscore Villarreal. They're a good team, but they're not a great team, and I don't think they're good enough to put 3 past United. And United in transitional moments pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You expect United to score, so that means Villarreal have got to get at least 4. It seems very, very, very deeply unlikely. But I still expect Ten Hag will put quite a strong side out just to make sure there isn't a kind of weird collapse.
He plays a strong team against every single side.
Yeah, that's true. And we're seeing the impact of that because there's been a few games recently where United have looked kind of leggy.
Yeah, I mean, I love what Ten Hag's brought, but like there is frustration in me that he just seems to play the best or the same team every single week. Like, I mean, I saw someone tweet like Ten Hag just thinks tiredness is like a mental weakness. It isn't actually believing it, but like, yeah, like it almost seems that that's like actually the case. Yeah, like,
well, he doesn't trust McTominay,
and that's fair enough, obviously,
and he doesn't trust Harry Maguire, which is fair enough.
Yeah. And he obviously doesn't trust the 2 youngsters, which again is fair enough. Like, well, I meant like Garnacho and Palestri, like they're fine in moments, and like especially Garnacho's ceiling is enormous, but yeah, they can't really trust them right now.
No, that's right. And Garnacho's, you're right, the ceiling is high, the consistency is not there yet. I expect it to come. Palestri's interesting because he could have gone out on loan again. He'd been pushing, apparently, because he wants game time. Totally understandable. Career's stalled by not playing, but he's played off the bench quite a few times recently, and I think he's very, very direct. Didn't really get into today's game, but I did against Betis, created one of the goals. So he's definitely an option. He clearly trusts him more than Elanga, who've basically just not seen at all.
It's gone, hasn't he? Palestri is an interesting one. I don't think he's the quickest in the world, but like he's a very intelligent dribbler. I think he's a little bit lightweight. You get pushed off the ball a little bit too easily. But I think if he bulks up a little bit and gets a little bit more strength, I think he could be a really good player. It's finding that strength while you're at United. Like, I don't know if that's going to happen. Whereas at the moment, he's kind of not having that strength and not being quick kind of means that he's kind of not great. And he also doesn't get on the ball enough. Like, Garnacho is always kind of there asking for the ball. And I think Palestra almost hides a little bit. But then you see what he did against Betis, and it's like, yeah, you have really got something here. It's just, it's going to be really tough with him. Like, what do you do? Send him out on loan again and then see how he does? And then if he does okay, and then bring it back. But then he's 22 already, isn't he? So, like, time's ticking.
Sure. Yeah, and he said there's 2 spells at Alaves which were mixed because he's super young, and that's okay. But having another season like next season, so they'll make a call in the summer, but he will think, like, what are my chances of really breaking into this side and getting in ahead of Anthony, who's a very interesting player, but one that Ten Hag clearly trusts, or Sancho or Elanga. He'll have to make that, like, am I going to play enough games with the number of players who can play in that position? If it's just him and he's understudy to Anthony, and that's kind of understood, and you'll start 15 games and you'll come on in another 20 or whatever, that might be enough for him. I don't know. We'll see. A lot of big decisions to make for United in the transfer market in terms of, like, balancing the squad out and moving forward, and probably very hard to do it right now because they can't have any sense of what the summer budget is, because it would be completely different if there's a takeover than now. Obviously, from FFP standpoint, they can kind of look at it and they know they're going to have to make some sales in order to make some purchases. They don't have to be 1-for-1 at all, but they do have to consider just how much United have spent recently and what that looks like. And they can't go do a Chelsea and put people on 8-year contracts, since that loophole was only for Chelsea. And so, yeah, definitely some decisions to make. And there's nothing has happened, like, recently in the takeover to suggest that it's coming to a conclusion right now. I mean, it looks like, if you believe all the leaks, of which there are many, that the Ineos bid has gone to phase 2, which is not a technical financial term, by the way. It's just something that it just means they'll have access to the data room, and they're looking in more detail at United's financials, all the contracts and stuff like that, which won't take that long. It's all negotiations, really. So the Qatari bid, the Ineos bid, the Elliott bid, who Elliott, as we've said, like a vulture capitalist PE firm that will look for a very quick turnaround. It seems opportunistic from them. I don't know whether they were having discussions with the Glazer family and have just basically offered all parties access to what would be very disruptive equity and or debt, some mixture of. So anyway, that is happening. Oh, and I don't know whether you saw the scammy crypto play.
Yes. Wow. NFTs.
Oh my God.
There's a fundraiser.
ChatGPT, write me some copy that is the most scammy possible. Like every crypto bro fucking cliche you can get. God. It's just terrible. Yeah.
It reminded me of that. Can you remember that crowdfunding thing a few years ago where it was bring Ronaldo home?
Right.
Oh yes. My God.
Exactly like
it
that.
It reminded me exactly of that, with that horrendous trailer with that old man just, oh God, makes me shudder.
Anyway, the guy Alessio, whatever he's called, I can't remember his second name now. I looked him up. Does not have a CV that you would say was notable. Definitely doesn't have the bucks to do it. And I didn't put his details out on Twitter because I didn't want to accidentally dox the wrong person. I'm pretty sure I know who it is. He'd been in touch with some other fan groups, apparently. Not me. I have to say, we're not important enough, Tom, for the scammers to get in touch with us. Yeah,
get him on. I would have wanted to get him on the show.
That's right. Yeah,
could have advertised his NFTs.
Like every single NFT play in football has been scammy. The ones where they're really serious, where they've tried to take over clubs. Is it Maidstone? No, not Maidstone. I can't remember. There's one of the clubs that a crypto guy has fully taken over and had these big claims that he was going to fund growth through crypto and fans can buy the coins. And then, of course, you're looking at the small print, you can't sell them. Or they crash 95% and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, every single one of them. Even things like so rare or so rare, and I never know how to say that one. And that one is, I mean, it's Fantasy Football League, but in order to win, you have to buy the really expensive cards. There's not really much of a trading market for it either. I don't know. It just feels, I do kind of think there will be a role for digital assets in the economy. It's a different part of the day job. I look at some of that, but in football, as a kind of expensive digital trading card / a way of milking fans, don't like it at all.
No, it really like targets the vulnerable people as well, like crypto does in general, like especially with the people doing the get rich quick schemes. There's such an insidious industry, and it's really quite upsetting. I think like you see how many people like think they're on a way to a winner, and I think this is a little bit different with what I guess the football clubs are trying to do. Like, oh yeah, if you sign up to our crypto, then you can vote for the song that the players come out to or whatever. Like I think Juventus and Barcelona had that for a little bit with their coins, but the whole industry is just incredible, and I can't believe
you can just do that with the standard membership, and you don't have to
exactly
flog it as a. The thing is, I think if it looks like a security, it should be regulated like a security.
Oh, it's crazy that it's not regulated.
Yeah, well, the SEC recently fined Kraken, which is one of the big exchanges, for doing exactly this, for basically selling stuff as securities. Well, it was they fined them for how they do the staking. So basically, where you can put up money for the gas fee for the crypto processing. I'm very simplifying this, so apologies. And it looks like a cross between betting and shorting, basically. And that kind of, the risk there is really high, and clearly that has to be regulated in the way that other financial securities are. I think if it was just, so the way that United marketed their NFTs, which was basically buy these digital trading cards, and it's 30 quid or whatever, that's fine. People can decide whether they think that's valuable or not. It's where you make the assumption or hint at or suggest that there's a secondary market for this and you could sell it. That's where it's really a problem. And that's exactly what this guy was basically suggesting. Not only and even like classic, like everything was structured, like even the tiering, where you can buy the top tier where you get 100 times the votes and stuff like that. Yeah. Don't like it at all.
That's horrible.
So anyway, I don't think it won't go anywhere. It 100% will not go anywhere. But
they've obviously somehow got enough publicity for it to become a thing, which
well, they put a press release out.
But people have picked that up though. Like, why? Why?
Yes, I know. Well, this is where you get sports journalists covering financial matters.
Yeah, just do a bit of due diligence. Like, obviously, like there's people out there who are like savvy enough. I think if you see like an NFT on someone's website after they send out a press release, like you maybe just go and Google the guy a bit like you did, like to just be like, yeah, is this legit or is this just a massive scam?
And ask some people. It's
exactly,
really simple.
Whereas if I send out a press release, like they're responsible then for some unknowing man to go be like, oh yeah, this sounds great. Signs up for these NFTs and just completely loses 100 quid or whatever of his money. Like, journalists have a responsibility in this, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, losing 100 quid's one thing, right? The consumer protection issue. Losing thousands because you see it as an investment that you could make a good return on. That is life changing for people.
I know so many people. Well, not so many people, but I know a handful of people who. Is that so many? Not really. I know a handful of people who have lost a lot of money on NFTs because they've just been taken in by the beast of the marketing material that's out there, and it's really just quite sad. And there's so many people out there who think that they're going to get rich quick or whatever, just make a little bit of money, a bit like gambling, and they just get turned over because they don't know any better.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm thinking that might be it for the week. United, frustrating draw. Coming up against Betis. I think it will be through. I'd be absolutely shocked if we're not.
Mm-hmm.
And not much happening on the takeover. except for scammers. We'll find out more. I mean, the due diligence part, it will take a long time because it's more like contracts and negotiations. And also the Glazer boys working out exactly what route they have out or not. There aren't many choices and they're all bad. I was thinking about this. Our options are the spawn of a fish canning, shitty strip mall billionaire, sort of billionaire, right? Scumbag carpetbaggers who have taken over the club. That's our one choice. So the Glazer boys stay in place. Second choice is, and this is even worse, they stay in place, but with vulture capital equity, which has to get an exit at some point, probably in flogging off parts of United that haven't been flogged off, right? Greenwashing Brexit with a quite well, not only the kind of petrochemical pollution, highest polluting plant in Scotland apparently, and other places in Ineos, a state with a horrendous human rights and labour record, want to wash its reputation and buy soft power, like and a crypto bro, awesome, just awesome.
Wow, the crypto bro doesn't sound so bad, to be fair, when you put him in alongside lot.
Yeah. Well, you see, that's it. Like, if everyone listening to this show now bought NQAT coin at $100, we still wouldn't have enough to buy the club, but we'd be getting there.
Maybe that's what you could do instead of the Patreon.
That's it, yeah. Well remembered. Patreon.com/NQAT pod for our Backer show. We're doing Backer show around about once every week, and merch as well.
Are you going to put a new tier in for if you do, like, I don't know, £3 a month and you get or you get an NFT, which you could sell on the market, or they'll be worth loads on the secondary market as well in a few years?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a huge opportunity. Huge. Not.
That's what we should clip for the Twitter.
That's it. Well, I'll put this clip out. We'll sell it on OpenSea. Yeah, good going. God almighty. Hate modern football. Love United. Oh, and by the way, before we go, just a note, I didn't know him personally, but Ian Sterling, the supporters liaison officer, worked with Must, died this week. I think there's been a tribute from all the people who did know him, saying what a nice guy he was. And I think I can at least reflect on the work he did with Must and how much effort has clearly had been put into representing supporters and supporters' interests. So a note for Ian. I never met him, but loads of people I know, and I'm sure you know, did meet him and have only positive things to say about him. So tragic, too early loss, but it's important for us to note his work, I think.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, folks. We'll catch you next week. And Backer show is going to be on Gary Lineker, and I think we might keep that open for everyone else, actually, as well. Bye now. Okay, this is the Backers bit. As I noted on the main show, I think we'll leave this one open for everyone just because it's a kind of interesting conversation and a fairly nuanced one, which is hard to have over social media. I don't know whether you've noticed any of the social media around Gary Lineker and what he said and what everyone else has said, but I think nuance is somewhat lost in 280 characters.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Barney Ronay receiving a lot of flack this morning.
No, what did Ronay say?
So someone tweeted about how if we refuse to talk about these kind of subjects, then we're not doing we're doing a disservice to the victims of the Holocaust. A little bit similar to a lot of, I think Darren Richmond tweeted a similar kind of thing, that if we refuse to talk about this, then it's actually we're doing more of a disservice to Jewish people than people like Suella Braverman's obviously come out and said it's offensive to Jews what Gary Lineker said, and then Barney Ronay responded to that tweet saying, why do we always compare it to Hitler and Nazi Germany? Why don't we compare it to Stalin's labor camps or the genocide in Rwanda and stuff? And then he got a lot of flack for that. I think it was like the tone of his argument was like, why is that exciting?
For a start, as noted, in some places who have cooler heads, Lineker did not compare the current immigration bill to the Holocaust or even to the Nazis, very specifically. And I think quite carefully in retrospect after a few days of thinking about this. he said it was reminiscent of the language used in Germany in the 1930s.
Yeah.
Reminiscent of the language used in Germany in the 1930s. And I was just, my initial reaction was, oh, this is a bit clumsy. And anytime you sort of bring, quote unquote, Nazis into this, because he didn't say Nazis, but anytime you bring Nazis or the Holocaust into this, you're weakening your argument, you're cheapening. And I think this is why people feel offended, what actually happened in the Holocaust, by comparing everything to that. And no, I think there is clearly a tendency to rush to call everyone a Nazi, and it should be reserved for the most serious things, clearly.
Godwin's law, isn't it?
Yeah, right. And it's interesting because the first I heard of Lineker, this Lineker thing, was not actually on social media. It was a friend of mine, very, very, very good friend, and known for a long time, and we have, over many a beer, solved the Middle East problem. And it was slightly different perspectives, but he sent it to me, and his reaction was he was deeply offended. Not going to name him because it's not fair, but he was deeply offended, and he thought Lineker should be fired, basically. And basically thought, I'm really summarizing, so apologies, but summary was he basically thinks he's Corbyn Mark II, right? And I was like, my initial reaction was, I don't think that's right. I felt it was clumsy. I thought, yeah, you shouldn't bring Nazis into this. You can make an argument against this immigration bill, which is, by the way, I'm quite happy to say, one of the most disgusting pieces of legislation I've ever seen in my lifetime. And we can go into why I think that's true. But it's always clumsy when you kind of compare everything to Nazis. But then you step back and go, he didn't do that. He was very specific in his language. It was about the tone of the language, not about the Holocaust. That came later, and I think by making the reference to 1930s Germany, that's what Lineker's trying to do. Same time, I know people are offended. I know there are some people who took offence, and I did my own canvassing, and there was a split opinion, as there is on any, like, Jewish people are not one homogenous lump, are they?
Yeah.
With one opinion. So there, it's complex and it's difficult. My take is that I think Gary Lineker was trying to be very specific and careful in his language there.
Yeah, I think he is, and I think by being careful as well, like, my personal opinion is that he's completely right in what he says. That the language that has been used is eerily reminiscent of 1936, 1935 kind of time in Germany from the Nationalist Socialist Party. I've seen clips go viral before this, where I remember daughter of a Holocaust victim confronted Suella Braverman about this herself. I think it was like some public speaking event, and she said, using the wording that you use obviously is eerily reminiscent, and he's not alone in this opinion. It's also like, it's not just the opinion, it's the nuance around, obviously, the fact that he's a freelancer, the fact that he's been criticizing the government in so many different respects for so long, but they've just wanted to jump on him at this. They've been waiting to find a moment where they can go, this is it. And they just bang, 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 bang the drum.
Yeah.
They get the right-wing media behind it. They get every politician goes for him. And then the BBC, because they're spineless and they fall at the feet of every single thing, almost everything that if the Tories complain, then they fall at their feet every single time. And they did it again. And for the first time, really, it's backfired for them, because like, it's been so obvious. Like, I mean, this is I guess, like, some people might say this is a leftist agenda that I'm spouting now, but it's not. It's so obvious the way that the BBC bow to Tory pressure. Like, you look at Laura Kuenssberg's, like, whole relationship with Boris Johnson over her time when she was the political editor while he was prime minister. It's just sickening. And the fact that it's only come to this point, like, and finally, it's really weird that the people actually at the BBC actually standing up against this blatant
politicization,
and weakness at the BBC is the sports media. It's like, I mean, at least someone's got some backbone at the BBC. Like, and I know for so many years, the Tories have been trying to undermine the BBC, and the right-wing media have been really trying to do it as well. But they have a stranglehold over the BBC. You look at how the people in charge...
It's been completely politicised by the Johnson administration.
Exactly.
So
and
chairman and director general, both
it's crazy.
Either donors and or former Tory politicians. So,
and then you see like Alan Sugar, the words and the phrases that he uses, and he's on one of BBC's flagship shows. Oh, he's allowed to do whatever he wants. And then you see like there is... I find it staggering. I find it just bamboozling that I don't find it bamboozling actually, because that's just the way that the country is. Like the country, it's not even surprising.
Look, this has been
element, but it's like
this is not organic, right? There is an agenda among some politicians to destroy the BBC as an independent organisation. Some people on the right feel it was too leftist. You can take that out, right? The kind of left and right politics of it anyway, and just say it's about control of state media, and that gives you everything you need to know anyway, without even getting into the left and right piece of it. And some people are just dogmatic, and it's a kind of view that there shouldn't be state-funded media and it should be funded by advertising, and that's what the Johnson the bill that went through Parliament to say the BBC Charter would end and it would have to become ad-funded, right? Funnily enough, the rest of the private enterprise broadcast media don't want that, because BBC would end up competing for ad pounds with them. So it's control of the media. It's two very political appointments in terms of the chairman and director general. I think we'll find that they got involved in this one, and it wasn't just a case of neutral assessment of Gary Lineker's social media. I mean, not least because actually, and it's been kind of widely reported now, the clause on use of social media very specifically says if a presenter is, for example, in sports or arts or science and is commenting on politics, that's much lower risk. Funnily enough, yes, because I don't think anyone would take a Gary Lineker tweet and go, "Oh, the BBC's position on neutrality has changed." Like, no, like he's not the political editor. So, anyway, it's insane just to completely flatly go, "Hey, he's broken the rules, therefore he should be punished." We know this is about politics. And we didn't talk about it, but I wanted to say, why is this one of the most disgusting pieces of legislation? Because it creates a second class of citizen, right? It stops any route to legal asylum claims. Now, under international law, you can make the claim. Asylum you're not illegal if you're making an asylum claim, you're making an asylum claim. So what this bill does is remove the ability for any asylum claims to be made in Britain. But there's basically no processing outside of Britain, right? It's a special thing. I mean, even for Ukrainian refugees, they had to apply in Ukraine, and that can take a while you're being bombed and hoping that you make it to get out the country. So almost no safe legal routes to a claim of asylum. There'll be none in Britain. And so people who make it to Britain won't be able to make a claim. And the thing that went around, which was very badly worded, saying you will not have access to modern slavery.
Oh my
weird.
God.
Like that's a perk of being an immigrant. I get to be in the modern slavery business. No, it's really weirdly. It's basically saying we will take nothing into account. So if you come to the country, we will not hear a claim. And so this is why I'm saying there'll be a second class of citizens. They'll be trapped. They won't be able to stay, and they won't be able to go. Because in order to return someone to a third country, you have to have a bilateral agreement. So that's why it's disgusting. The language is also disgusting, reminiscent of pasts in many different countries, but you're going to have a group of people potentially growing to tens, hundreds of thousands of people who are completely stateless. And so it's just shocking. These people have no access to the only rights they will have. And this is the other thing, right? So you can be detained indefinitely under this bill, and the only rights you'll have will be habeas corpus. But if you're not going to get a hearing for years, what's the point? You don't even get that, right, in effect. So that's why it's really disgusting. I don't know whether Lineker was reacting to the whole bill or just the language, but either way, someone's got to say something.
What distresses me really about the whole thing is the lack of compassion throughout the society, because this bill isn't coming in because the leaders are vicious. I think it is partly because of that, but it's coming in because it's going to be popular with the voting populace, because it is. You look to the YouGov survey, and I know obviously we can take YouGov with a pinch of salt, seeing as it's run by cronies, but it came back as 65% that people would be agreeing with the bill. And like I say, the scary thing to me is the lack of compassion in the British population, which I guess has just been manipulated by the right-wing press for years and years and years, othering people who aren't white British, and I guess in some parts of society, like that has, over the last 30 years, that the progress has been quite stark and really impressive. But then throughout that whole time, the right-wing press have been at the throat of anyone, and asylum seekers in particular. It's to me, it's just incredible that 6 years on from Brexit and all the horrificness behind that campaign, and Farage's banners, and I remember that specific one where he stood in front of all those people, and that was eerily reminiscent of Nazi propaganda, and people just lap it up. I don't know if I can't almost put the blame on the people, because I feel like propaganda and brainwashing really is obviously having a hugely strong effect has a strong effect. And I guess if people don't know any better, but it's the compassion and the heart that people just seem to have completely lost. They don't understand that these people are coming from the worst parts of the world, like Syria, Afghanistan, Ukraine, and Somalia, wherever it be. And I have right close to me, there's 2 hotels that have asylum seekers, and they're all male hotels. And the radio and the spotted groups on Facebook and the phone-ins are just full of people saying, who are just angry and like apoplectic at the fact that these people are there in their village and their town, because they're so scared, they're so fearful of these others, because one, they've not met them, and they don't realize that these people are just normal people,
just people trying to survive,
who've been through unimaginable events that like people in this country, like I say, can't even imagine. And the fact that they've been told over and over again that these people are coming to take your jobs, they're coming to rape your people, they're coming to steal your houses, and there's all this bullshit that there's a higher crime rate since these people since the asylum seekers.
Nonsense.
It's absolute nonsense, and I hear it on a daily basis.
It's easy to debunk, but the emotion gets in the way of that.
It's a completely emotional response, and the right-wing media know what they're doing. They're just stoking this emotional response in people, and it has a huge, huge impact to the fact that this bill, like I say, isn't just loads of evil people at the top thinking, oh yeah, we just want to get them out. They know there's evil behind it, but they also know that this is going to work for the populace. And I think over the next 2 years before the election, the culture war in this country is just going to ramp up and up, because the Tories know that there's
because there's nothing else. And you see it. Some of it's organised and some of it's organic. But I mean, even yesterday I saw a piece going around on Twitter with a bill that purportedly was for a pensioner. It was a gas bill for £400-something or something like that, right? And in the tweet it said, and this is just an example, look at this bill. How's a pensioner supposed to pay this? Meanwhile, we're housing asylum seekers and they get a nice warm house for free. Well, by the way, the piece of legislation that's going in will basically stop any routes to asylum. So, hey, you'll get what you want, folks. So the people will have, and it stops any routes to even claiming that. Yeah. So there'll be no housing. There will be no warm, comfy hotels, if that's what people think asylum seekers get, which is, by the way, not true.
Absolutely
not
ridiculous.
True. Shocking conditions people are housing.
Oh my God.
And so what I think will happen, and this is me, I'm not in politics or the asylum ecosystem. I ramble on about football on the internet, and I do something completely different as a day job. But I suspect, given the way this is structured, if it goes through, if it passes the test with the courts, which it might not do, right, is that we'll get tens, hundreds of thousands of people in this kind of limbo. Detention centres will overflow, and because there's not enough capacity, if it looks anything like the Australia system, we'll get people locked in that for years and years and years. And it's just cruelty on a kind of unimaginable scale. Mm-hmm. And by the way, to relate it back to football, often got pushback when during the Qatar World Cup or the recent kind of bid from the Qataris for only talking about other countries' wrongs and ills. And here we are talking 15, 20 minutes nearly now talking about this country's wrongs and ills. Mm. And so I think it's only fair to say this is something that Britain is doing, which I think is disgusting. And if the UK government tried to buy United, I'd be very angry about that. Oh my God. I don't think that's likely to happen, but just so you know, we're balanced with that conversation.
It's devastatingly depressing. Like just to think of, just to try and put yourself in the position of an asylum seeker in this country, and the like you say, living in these hotels which people somehow think is like luxury, with loads of people you don't know in a town you don't know, surrounded by loads of white people who hate your guts and are sometimes protesting outside of your living quarters after everything you've been through. And now you're stuck in this limbo. You've got this potential legislation, which means you're going to be fucked either way. It's heartbreaking. I don't know how anyone can actually look at it any other way. If they're using their heart, I don't know how they can not see it as anything but heartbreaking, to be honest. I find it just, terribly distressing, to be honest. And it just speaks to the moral corruption of this country in general, really. Like it's so morally corrupt, and it has got a lot worse over the last 13 years since the Tory government taken over. And for the next 2 years, it's going to get even more horrible, because the only way, like I say, the only way that the Tories win is by igniting the culture war to unprecedented levels.
Yes, and Lineker has been a party in that culture war, because clearly that's what the past week has been about. Mm-hmm. Anyway, there's Politics Cast. We'll see how many people turned off the second half of that. Sorry if you don't like it, but these things are important. So, and we've always 621 episodes now, and we've always touched on politics, because football and politics are deeply intertwined, whether you like it or not. And if you didn't believe that, what happened over the past week was clearly a case of that being true. One thing just to close out, it's funny how politicians keep trying to take on footballers, and especially the Labour have done it occasionally, but especially the Conservative government. And I think it's this kind of sneering, these are stupid working class people and they don't understand. And generally as a group of people, footballers don't get involved in politics very much. I mean, they're happy to take their paycheck and keep out of it. Most of them would want to stay away from controversy. In fact, they're taught that by the clubs. But there are a few very smart people, Marcus Rashford, Ian Wright, Gary Lineker, maybe, who are happy to use their voice and their platform because it's important and for different issues. This was one of them. It was a hard topic to confront over the past week. I definitely had to take a little time to think about it before just reacting, to canvass opinions and try and understand the perspective of people who are offended by what Lineker said and why, and the people who felt it was very important for someone to say something, and the reaction of BBC journalists. So, I'm glad we had a few days to think about it before sort of voicing an opinion. I hope that discussion has added something to it.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.